Please welcome Mr. Butitta.
Hey guys, my name is Hank, and I'm really excited to be here. I'm a big fan of TED and TEDx, and I'm really honored to have this opportunity. I'm also terrified, because there's a very good chance at some point I'm going to forget what I'm saying, and that's going to be embarrassing. So this is actually what I wanted to talk about today, the relationship between excitement and fear, and how important they've been for me in relation to bringing ideas to action. So the last year of my life has been all about bringing ideas to action, about making, about doing. And I shifted to a much more entrepreneurial mindset, creating my own opportunities rather than following the path set out for me. And following these opportunities have put me in a constant state of being excited and terrified at the same time. And I've learned to see these feelings as helpful guides and indicators along the way. So let me give you a little bit of background. I've wanted to be an architect for my entire life. Since I was 10 years old, I've been following the necessary path to become licensed. I took all the right math and science courses in high school. I got a 4-year undergraduate in architecture, followed by a 3-year master's degree in architecture, which means I'm now eligible to start a minimum of 3 years of closely supervised interning, followed by 7 major tests, at which point I will finally be able to call myself a licensed architect without fear of legal repercussions. So, for years I accepted this as my fate, growing increasingly frustrated along the way. By the time I started graduate school, I'd become pretty resentful of the necessary education to become licensed. I wasn't enjoying studio. I was frustrated with continually doing projects that existed only on paper for clients that were imaginary with details I didn't understand. More than that, I was becoming frustrated with what I saw as my future. A guy sitting at a desk drawing rather than building. So you could pretty accurately describe this part of my education as ideas to not much, really. Finally, this spring, I shifted from ideas to action. I had the opportunity with my master's thesis to create my own project and to pursue it any way I saw fit. After years of doing purely conceptual projects, I knew I wanted to build something, but I had no idea what. As a side note, for a couple of years, some of my friends and I had been looking into designing or building a small cabin on my family's land. But we realized after a little bit of research that we couldn't afford to build a cabin large enough to meet the minimum requirements for building code, which is about 600 or 800 square feet. So we started looking into other solutions, like putting a trailer on the land or turning a cabin or a school bus into a cabin. We didn't really put the time or resources into doing this, though, until last December, we found a cheap old bus on Craigslist that already had a couple of bunk beds in the back, a cooktop, and a dining table. We got really excited, pooled our money together, and went to buy it. At which point the guy said, "Sorry, I'm not really interested in selling anymore." So here I am, a week before my thesis is supposed to start. I have no idea what I'm going to do, except I know I want to build it, and I'm really itching to own a school bus. So I said, screw it, and I bought another bus. I parked it behind the school and tried to figure out how I was going to turn this into a legitimate project. Over the course of the semester, I tore out the interior, put in a new floor, new walls, and turned it into a tiny living space. The final review was a huge success. Professors loved it, the dean of the school attended, won a Critics' Choice Award, and a producer from NPR even showed up to do a piece on it. It was awesome. A few months after that trip, or after that final review, I took a 5,000-mile road trip in the bus with my friend Justin, who's a professional photographer. The point of this journey was to test the functionality of the conversion, to show people what living in the bus was like, and of course to have a bit of adventure along the way. So the blog we kept of the bus, of our journey, ended up going viral and spreading all across the internet. We were on a number of major news sites, all of our favorite blogs, and for a week we felt like celebrities. We even had people recognizing us on the street. At one point, we had a couple of guys email us while we were driving down the road saying, "Hey, is this you?" Kind of funny, kind of terrifying at the same time. So I had people from all over the globe messaging me, emailing me, telling me how inspirational the bus was to them and how much they wanted to be living my life. Words cannot express the excitement of living this experience, of having a project be so successful and so well loved was incredible. So, all great things, right? On the internet, it looks like I'm living the dream. From the outside, all people see is the success. What they don't see are the risks that are being taken and the sacrifices that are being made. Before my final review, I had 3 or 4 miserable, heartbreaking reviews. I had professors who they weren't sure if what I was doing was really architecture. They argued whether or not my project was even valid. One of my favorite professors couldn't understand why I was doing it and suggested I should have gone to trade school instead. Yeah, that means something in the architecture school. On top of that, I was dumb enough not to take out a loan for my final semester of school because I had just enough money left in my educational account to pay for tuition. Instead, I spent that money on a bus and improvements. I still haven't paid for my final semester. The university's been calling for months, threatening to take me to collections, and now I'm on a payment plan. They still haven't mailed me my diploma. As for the journey, neither Justin or I had any idea how we were going to pay for it, but we saw that there was an opportunity there, so we maxed out our credit and went for it. I am super broke, and it is terrifying. Oh, don't cry on stage. I love my life, and I'm really excited about where I'm headed. But the achievements haven't come without risk. The excitement of every opportunity has come paired with a healthy dose of fear. There's a good chance any of my ventures could fail. There's a good chance I could be taken to collections while trying to survive as a freelance designer. There's a good chance I could end up living on the bus by necessity. So there's also a chance that I could be successful. There's a chance that by pursuing these opportunities that excite me, it could lead to stable self-employment and control of my own life. So here's my recommendation in reaching your greatest potential and bringing ideas to life. Pursue opportunities to create a healthy balance of excitement and fear. I'm going to make a little analogy. In sailing, one of the most helpful gauges to determine whether you're reaching your greatest potential is a telltale. So a telltale is a short little string that dangles off of either side of the sail. And when you're sailing upwind, it helps you determine if you're sailing too far into the wind or not enough. Basically, in an ideal state, the telltales will both be streaming back stably. In a non-ideal state, one will be fluttering out of control. If one of your telltales is fluttering, to correct, you steer away and change course. So when you're bringing an idea to life, I think you should look at fear and excitement as your telltales. In an ideal state, they should be both balanced in an equilibrium. If fear is too high, you're probably in a high-risk scenario with not enough payoff. Consider what you can do to lower the risk. If you're in over your head on a project, consider taking on a teammate. If I did not have my brother helping me build the bus, or Justin as my partner and photographer on the trip, we would not have realized 1/100th of the potential we did. If fear is too low, you're probably playing it safe. Too safe. If you're not afraid, you're probably not taking any risks. No risk, no payoff. If your life is so under control that you're not afraid of anything, it's probably time to stretch further. One of the best ways to do that is to be impulsive and say yes. One of the things I regret most about school was only doing school. I didn't do any outside extracurricular activities. I didn't take on any outside projects. I didn't enter any competitions. I just did my homework and followed the path. The spark that really lit the fire for me was saying yes to opportunities that scared me and excited me at the same time. So deciding to study abroad, agreeing to build a friend's dining table, deciding to buy a bus, buying a CNC machine, deciding not to get a job. Any of these situations, it would have been safer for me to just say no, to do my homework, apply for an internship, and follow the path set out for me. But I was impulsive, I said yes, and I pursued new opportunities, which made me, each one of these made me more comfortable in stepping outside of my box. Which brings me to my next point. Fake it. I have no idea what I'm doing. In every one of these opportunities, I went into it not knowing if I had the skill set necessary to complete it. I wasn't sure how I was going to complete it, but I had an idea that it was possible. So I said yes, I faked it, and I buried my head in research to figure out what I needed to do to get it done. I'm still not sure if I did any of these things like the right way, or if there is a right way. After talking to some of my friends who are now working in architecture firms on real buildings, I'm convinced that nobody knows what they're doing. Scary, right? At least not at first. And there's nothing wrong with not knowing what you're doing, as long as you're willing to admit it and bury your head in the research to gain the knowledge needed to enlighten yourself. It's a hell of a lot better than playing it safe and remaining ignorant. So, one second. Realizing all of this has changed the way I've approached my life. I'm now pursuing more opportunities that create this healthy balance of excitement and fear at the same time. For example, because of the bus, I have a client who approached me to design him and his family a $500,000 lake home. I have no idea how to manage a project this size. And the risk of failure is terrifying, and the consequences for failure are terrifying. But the potential to have built work in my portfolio in my 20s is incredibly exciting. And it's this healthy balance that convinced me to do this project. I miss having access to the school shop and working around other designers. So I'm trying to start a cooperative of a dozen or so designers and to start a cooperative workshop space in a 6,000 square foot warehouse I found on Craigslist. I have no idea how to organize a cooperative, and if everything falls apart, there's a chance that a few of us could be left on the hook for a very expensive lease, which is scary. But the potential to be working in a workshop space with other designers in a fully functioning workshop is so exciting I needed to pursue it. Someday I want to have a furniture business. I have a friend who makes glass lights for room and board, and they decided this year they were going to show their wares at the International Contemporary Furniture Fair in New York. They offered to share a booth with me. I said yes. Sure. I have no idea where I'm going to find $4,500 for my half of the booth, and I still have yet to design a piece of furniture. But the excitement of getting started with a friend who already has an established business and being able to split the fair was incredibly exciting to me. So I went for it. So becoming comfortable with this balance of becoming comfortable with fear and learning and realizing the potential of stepping outside of my comfort zone to pursue what excites me has led to a bunch of fantastic opportunities that I plan on pursuing as long as I can. There are a number of self-help books out there, motivational books, that'll tell you, believe in yourself, step outside the box, follow your dreams. And they're not wrong. But what I'm hoping to tell you today is to listen to your body and to what it's telling you. Listen to your feelings. Listen to your gut instincts. If you're excited about something, pursue it. If you're feeling stagnant, take on a new project. If you're overwhelmed, ask for help or feel free to walk away. In reaching your greatest potential and trying to bring an idea to life, you should be feeling an exhilarating blend of excitement and fear. Embrace it. Thank you.